Seahawks keep on cooking. The season keeps getting closer. Headlines keep getting better. Let's break it all down, including an injury analysis on this episode of Seahawks Digest. What's happening, everybody? Christian Pedersen back with another episode of the show that, despite my toddler being a menace all day, I ain't letting it bother. The terrible twos doesn't mean nothing when we got Nick Emmanwori walking around on the sidelines. I hope you guys are all having a great one as well. Like, subscribe, comment, share are all buttons that, because it's a YouTube show, et cetera, you know the spiel. I'm telling it to you every single episode, but a lot of you are starting to return now that there's real football to talk about. Okay, today, got a trio of stories for you as always. Let's get it started with the move that the Seahawks made. Signing a fullback, Brock Lampy, waiving a tight end, Lance Mason. The move for Lampy is seemingly, I never exactly know who's going to end up being like the sleeping giant that I think this is more of a functionality of trying to figure out that running back room and maybe assessing that there is a need for some pass protection, or run blocking or big body usage that doesn't exist with Emmanuel Wilson and Jadarian Price. And you don't want to just singularly spend George Halani's year throwing him against Myles Garrett, et cetera, et cetera. I think that it's an interesting little just side note to say we saw a couple of days ago in camp that it was both fullbacks and tight ends that seemed to be blossoming from Brian Fleury's offense. So I will say that Brock Lampy, whatever the pronunciation of it is, like I can visualize him catching like 3 massive first down completions throughout the course of the season or something like that. Whereas like, hey, even though he's just probably going to be a blocking guy, let's store that in the back of the mind for when he ends up saving us against some team or whatnot. Next thing I said I want to talk about is Nick Emmanwori. There is a ton to unpack about. I don't know why I did the big arms there. I'm trying to really drive home how much of this there is to unpack from a very small video. And it's just him walking. I will let you, Twitter loves to just copyright strike stuff and whatnot. So getting a strike over Nick Emmanwori walking. I apologize. You can go look up the actual video itself. He doesn't appear to have too much of an issue with his gait or stride, whatever you want to call it. This was not him running through light drills like we will get to with Sharbs, and me saying like, oh my gosh, this is like he's just chilling to really make sure he's healthy, and we'll see him literally any day now. But it's not him with crutches. It's not him with a noticeable limp. It's not him doing the kind of shenanigans that they do when an actress is pregnant in a show where they're hiding him. He's sitting there talking to fans and his left leg is behind a table or something. Like, it's him walking. For the rest of you that want a little bit more of a reasonable take, I think that the question for me is going to be the first 4 games. The article that I saw about it all in relation to that video brought up a very succinct summary of the situation that I think is great for everyone to wrap their brains around. While Macdonald did not provide a timeline, they did not view it as season ending, that the PUP can be immediately brought off of between now and August 30th, but if he is on the PUP and on the 53-man roster on the 30th, he needs to miss the first 4 games. In the connecting of the dots that my little brain is capable of doing, given that we have both signed linebackers and pursued or kicked the tires on other linebackers, I don't know if I'm not actually going to go bet on it, but if I had $1 to go bet on it, I would say that he probably misses those first 4 weeks. Is that catastrophic? No, given that I don't want to disrespect the rest of the defense and say, like, none of these guys, like, he's the linchpin that everyone else can't succeed without. Like, it's not a quarterback thing on the defense. There isn't one guy that, like, if you take him away, things can really start to go off a cliff. But he's also an intangible, irreplaceable kind of guy that I would prefer, if there is a little something there with that ankle, that between now and the 30th, and then if you tack on those first 4 weeks of the season, you're basically giving him just about 2 months to get fully, or as fully healthy as any football player is ever, before you shoot them full of Toradol and adrenaline to go out there and compete in a gladiator tournament type thing. But you get what I'm saying. I'm fine with missing those first 4 weeks if he's already looking healthy enough to just be walking around on his own. The next injury that I want to get to before we get out of here is Charbs, and him looking promising, doing ramp up activities like one leg jumping. Walking perfectly normal. Off the PUP list and ready to play away week 5 against the Niners is the official assessment from the prognosticators and people who are much more in the know, quote unquote, if you will, about the Seahawks than I. So, okay, week 5 against the Niners is going to be a hell of a thing, I guess, because we're looking at like getting Charbs back, getting Emmanwori back. It's Brian Fleury's old team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's just the Niners. So, hell yeah, brother, just want to beat them senseless anyway. I think that the recovery from an ACL has been one that has progressively shortened the timeline on, just as modern medical science has developed. And it was Adrian Peterson speeds back, and then it was guys like the training, the recovery, the medicine, the science behind all of it keeps progressing every year until eventually it's just going to be like they're going to spray some little thing on you and you're back the next quarter. That all being said, I feel like the running back room in the opposite way of how we were talking with Emmanwori, running back room's kind of lit right now. And not that any one of these guys is going to take Charbs' job, but if you had to convince somebody that what's the level of talent replacing somebody, Emmanwori to anybody else that's going to jump in there from what we're available to get versus versus Charbs and Kenneth Walker to a little bit, like you got to have 2 good running backs, but Jadarian Price, Emmanuel Wilson, George Holani, and now we got fullbacks joining the full. If we can legitimately get Charbs back, if he's already doing one-legged jumps and that kind of stuff, and have Charbs back by week 5, I think that's the exact sweet spot. Not just for him, but for the whole team, because doing the whole preseason and then first 4 weeks of the regular season with that running back by committee is going to be great baptism by fire for some guys. Chance at a second bite at the apple for some guys. Chance to step up and answer the call after being on the bench first. It's a different story and plot line for everybody, but nonetheless, there's the fact that there's not a direct incumbent there, but yet, there will be one who is allegedly fully healthy and ready to go after some of these guys have had a chance to really duke out and figure out the different roles that they all potentially play. If we're going to get Charbs back, and then in 4 weeks we've got hey, Jadarian Price low-key, he fits with these couple of types of plays. Holani can be our blocking back that we have, a fullback and him both interchange. It feels like this is, if anything, I would have gone into this season with the current running back room and been like, cool. I'm not really stressing about it. But to then see that Charbs is on track to be back by week 5, which is realistically still the start of the season, I'm all here for it. So nothing but good news for you today. That's what I got for you. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.